You're okay, buddy. You're okay, Smokey.
I used to hate cats, used to be dogs all the way, till a cat came along, changed my tune. Now I say I prefer cats to people, and cats seem to prefer me too.
Hello there, cat people. Dan the Catman here, and welcome to episode 77 of the Shelter Cats podcast, the podcast created by Shelter Cats. And joining me, almost as always, is my co-host, Michelle the Meow Maven. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, guys.
Your hair looks amazing.
Thank
And
you.
Stephen Quant, our executive producer and cat behavior expert from catbehaviorhelp.com. Hi, Stephen.
Hey,
How are
Dan.
you?
Hi, Michelle.
And before we introduce today's guest, we just have two pieces of business to take care of. Michelle, after you.
The Shelter Cats podcast is proud to be part of the Chewy Shelter and Rescue Affiliate Program. Chewy's mission is to be the most trusted and convenient online destination for pet parents and partners everywhere. Chewy is passionate about supporting animals and making a positive impact on communities across the country. Local shelters and rescues oftentimes serve as a first home or provide continued support to pets. That's why Chewy is committed to supporting organizations that benefit the overall health, safety, and well-being of shelter and rescue animals. Please click the link in our podcast description or on our website. You'll not only be helping your local shelter, you'll also be supporting this podcast. So thank you, Chewy.
Now, Stephen, did you know that we have a website?
I do know that, Dan.
Isn't that amazing? We have
It's
a website
great.
now. So we get to sponsor ourselves. We have an awesome website, sheltercatspod.com. That's sheltercatspod.com. And it's a fully functional website designed by Michelle herself. Take a bow, Michelle. And oh, she really did bow. And where you could get links to all the platforms our show is on. You can get links to our YouTube videos and learn more about all of us, the hosts, and our very shy editor, Jake. We could learn more about him. And we have merch. We have a huge merch store with hats, t-shirts, magnets, mouse pads. If you have an iPhone or a Samsung, there's a very cool clear phone case for your iPhone or Samsung. It goes back to like the iPhone 8. It goes back many, many models. So even if you have an older phone, you can get a case with our logo on the back. We have there's stuffed animals, stuffed tigers, stuffed cats, and all sorts of things. Bugs, you name it. So go to our website, sheltercatspod.com. Buy some merch because it helps support our ability to bring more content to you. So with that out of the way, our guest coming up is really excited about this guest. His name is Duane Hook. He's from Cat in a Tree Rescue. Duane Hook is a professional tree climber and lifelong animal lover who has been rescuing cats from treetops since 2010. What began as a simple love of climbing trees and spending time in them gradually grew into something much larger. Cat rescue became another reason to climb, eventually evolving into a true labor of love, a way to help animals and the communities who care about them by using his climbing skills to reduce fear, stress, and suffering. Duane climbs using modern arborist techniques, I didn't want to get that word wrong, ropes and specialized safety gear designed to protect him, the cat, and the tree. Every tree is different and every cat is different, but his goal is always the same. Keep the animal calm, keep everyone safe, and return the cat to the ground with as little stress as possible. Over the years, Duane has rescued cats from backyard maples, city street trees, dense woods, and trees others considered unclimbable. He has helped senior cats, feral cats, indoor-only escape artists, and more than a few very large, I swear he's not usually this heavy, house cats. So, without further ado, we will be jumping right to our interview with Duane Hook. We'll see you there. Meow. Everybody say meow.
Meow.
And we're back, cat people, with Duane Hook himself from Cat in a Tree Rescue. Duane, thank you so much for joining us.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So we've had all kinds of rescue people on the show. We've had, straight, well, not run of the mill, but cat rescue. They rescue cats, they put them in fosters, like vertical, into a foster, into a home. We've had a trapper who is pretty well known in our New York area, who has climbed under houses into foundations to rescue cats that have gotten stuck or sick. We've had a professional pet tracker who tracks lost cats and dogs, and she's climbed into a sewer under a major Long Island highway because the cat she was tracking had an air tag in his collar, and the air tag was pinging from the middle of a busy north-south expressway on Long Island. It turned out she assumed the worst. It turned out he got in the sewer in the storm drain and was under the highway. Uh, and now we could say we've had someone that's climbed up a tree to climb. So, all heights. So right off the bat, how did you get involved in this specific form of cat rescue?
It all starts with trees for me. I have a deep love for trees and being in trees, tree climbing. I started climbing trees in the late 2008, 2009, and it was through a game, geocaching, which I no longer do this game, but I used to take my nephews on these little adventures, and some of them had tree climbing in them, and it was pretty exhilarating. So I started climbing trees for fun and creating these adventures for other people to go on. And they got progressively more and more daring. And people would travel from different states to do these tree climbing adventures that I made. And through doing that, I started looking at trees differently and I lost interest in the game so much, but my interest in trees just blossomed to where I wanted to climb these trees that I couldn't just free climb. I would look at these giant trees and think, how can I get there? So I started lurking online on different forums, the arboriculture forums with arborists and tree workers. And I would just lurk and learn these techniques and then try them. And it became so fascinating to me. And I just fell in love with the equipment and the gear. And I'm a problem solver by nature. And this really tickles the problem solving part of my brain because I'm solving problems when it really matters, like at height, when if you mess up, it counts.
Hmm.
So that and my love for trees, I really got just at first, it was the cat in a tree rescue. I first learned about it at a tree climbers rendezvous. I think it was in 2010. I went to my first tree climbers rendezvous. And that's where tree climbers, people who love to climb trees, get together and they climb trees for a weekend and they camp and they learn different techniques and
Cool.
try different gear. We'll camp way up in the canopies of trees, camping 100 feet up in the tree in a hammock,
Wow.
making coffee, making breakfast. And you can learn so much from these climbers from all over the world. Well, that's when I first learned that about Dan Krause's directory of catinaTreeRescue.com. And so immediately after that rendezvous, I signed up to be on this directory. And I got my first call in October of 2010, shortly after that rendezvous. So at first, it was just another reason to climb trees. Um, I wanted to climb as many trees as I could, and this would offer me an opportunity to climb trees of different species and different settings that probably were not the trees that I would choose to climb because I would always choose these majestic giant trees. Well, these cats rarely climb the trees that I would choose to climb. It happens on occasion, but it's pretty rare. So it started as another reason to climb trees. Now I had cats and I love animals, so it seemed like a natural fit. But honestly, back then it was another reason to climb trees that quickly morphed into something else for me once I saw the impact that it would have on families and communities. And just the real challenges that it tickled furthermore that problem solving part of my brain.
Well, I just want to mention, Duane, and it connects to how I found you. You are all over social media. Most people listen to our podcasts over audio streaming platforms, but we get video views on Spotify and YouTube. The videos of you that you make going up into trees is breathtaking. And I'm just going through reels, and all of a sudden, I see you. I'm watching you do your thing, and I am mesmerized. And I watch one or two or three in a row, and I saw that you were answering a question that someone had posed, and I'm like, oh my God, Dwayne's there. And I wrote you something about the bag that you use, to get the cats. And you answered me. And then I started asking you about the podcast, and I realized this was not going to work because you're a busy guy, and there are thousands of people trying to talk to you. So I went to your website, right, which we're going to be linking to all your stuff, including your Venmo, if that's okay for donations, right? But I went to your website,
Mhm.
getmeowtahere.com, right? Great website. And there's this button, it says call me. And I was like, I got to talk to him. I got to talk to him. I got to get this guy. And I call you, and you answered the phone and said what?
This is Duane. Do you have a cat stuck in a tree?
And it was perfect. And bravo. And I said no, but blah, blah, blah. I'm podcast producer, all that stuff. And we talked for a few minutes. You basically agreed. And I think I sent you an email and I didn't hear back from you. So I called you again. And I got the same. And you picked up the phone and you did the same thing. And I'm like, this is priceless and precious. But the videos show your love for these cats, and the cats in this very delicate condition where they are talking to you. It's like this intimate
Hmm.
moment, 100 feet, 150 feet in the air. So I just wanted to do my own personal introduction. And I'll ask you one quick question, and then I'll let Michelle and Dan get into it with some others. You make it look the physical, the technical part of the
Hmm.
climb. You
Sure.
make you make it look effortless. Like I don't under could you explain to us? You're going up 100 or more feet in the air, and I just see you pulling on this rope with this metal device, and it doesn't look like you're working super hard, but I mean, you're a young guy, but you're not 20.
I'm not that young. Um,
Tell me how this works.
okay, a lot of it is practice. And like I said, when I first started, I would try every system to climb a rope. Climbing a rope is what I'm doing essentially. And the history of rope access is pretty long. In the 80s, it really started to make kind of advancements. And I have tried every system that the cavers would use. And I have gone caving into deep caves, but I've tried all of these systems. And the system I use now is the most efficient system that I have ever used. And it's what I've settled into. Now, different body types may find other systems a little easier or more comfortable, but this is the system that I like. And it is generally the system that modern rope climbers use. And what it consists of is a small ascender or a cam that is strapped to my right foot. It's just a little strap with a little piece of metal that slides up the rope, but it will not slide down the rope. So I lift my foot and it lets me advance that right leg. And then a dear friend of mine, Richard Mumford, he revolutionized the knee ascender that I wear on my left foot, and it's called a Saka. Shout out to Richard and Climbing Innovations for making the Saka. And it is a bungee device that straps to my right foot or my left foot, but then there's an extension that comes up to put the ascender part by my knee. That allows my right foot not to run into it. So there has to be a
Hmm.
gap. Okay. So I have a sender on my right leg and on my left leg, and I'm essentially just running or walking up the rope and using my hands only to keep myself vertical from falling
Ah,
back. And then the device that you're talking about, I actually happen to have one right here.
Uh,
Also designed by a dear friend of mine, Kevin Bingham out of Detroit. This revolutionized rope access climbing, and it's called the Rope Runner. This is the original Rope Runner device. But what this does, it doesn't aid in the climbing. My legs are doing the work, and my
mhm.
hands, you can use your hands to pull as well. But this just kind of trails up the rope with me. It just glides up the rope. But if I were to slip or sit back, it will grab me on the rope. So it doesn't aid in the climbing. It just follows me up the rope while I use my big muscles on my legs and keep my hands to keep me vertical. This keeps me safe, the Rope Runner. And that's how it is. It's a full body. Once you get the body mechanics of it down, it's just practice. It's difficult at first, but it's all about getting the body mechanics and kind of flow down.
Wow.
that is fascinating. And here I thought you had incredible upper body strength, just pulling yourself up.
Yeah, it's I do not. Granted, some guys or gals, people with incredible upper body strength, they will still struggle the first few times they do it
Yeah,
often, just because a lot of it is the mechanical action of finding that flow.
right,
But
right.
I'll mention, Dwayne, when I was a kid, when I was 16, 17, I did some rock climbing,
Mhm.
and that uses a lot of leg. And it
Yeah,
was
Yeah.
really hard. I
yeah.
mean, it was hard.
I mean, you hear me in some of my videos. I am sucking wind by the time I get up to my tying point. So, I mean, it still is physically exerting, but the more you do it, you find ways to be more efficient with your leverage and your body.
Wow.
That is, which actually kind of ties into one of the things that I wanted to ask because I like Steven, I was watching all kinds of videos, and honestly, without fail, every video that I watched, my heart was like in my feet, and it wasn't so much the heights, like I'm not afraid of heights, but it was like, and you referenced it too. The cats aren't going up, these great grand, majestic trees. They're going up, dogwoods. They're going up birches. They're going they're like these tiny little twigs of trees, and I'm like, how are these branches not breaking away? Like, how it's fascinating to me that you can, and I see that, I understand that you're pulling yourself up, you're not relying on the branches to get yourself up there, but once you're in those positions, and the position and trying to, actually get to the cat and try and, there's a moment where you have to, relax there. And I do see that you kind of, maybe you're not putting all your weight now, knowing the mechanics of it a little bit better with the rope system and the pulley system. I'm assuming you're not putting all your weight on the branches. It's mostly using probably that device that you just showed us. But
Yeah,
it's just it like my heart sank so many times. I'm like, that branch is going to break. He's going to go down. The branch is going
yeah,
to break.
yeah. You're right. So the big X factor or unknown factor with this type of tree climbing is I set my rope or my anchor remotely. Okay, so I'm setting this rope way up in the tree over a limb that I
Right.
cannot examine all the way around it. Okay. So
Right.
there is, through experience and kind of getting to know different tree species, you get to have some confidence in different size limbs for different trees and how much leverage you're going to be imparting on the whole structure. But that is always an X factor, that initial anchor that I'm going to commit to putting my life on as I ascend the rope. Okay.
Yeah.
But then and that comes through just inspecting the tree and experience um, to gain that confidence. But once you get up there, then there are different things you can do. And that's the fun, more of the fun part of the tree climbing. Climbing the rope is just climbing the rope, but getting yourself into these positions out on the twigs and things like that, that's where the problem solving comes into play and distributing your weight amongst a bunch of small branches and things like that. But
But if
that's what I'm doing. Essentially, you nailed it. Via that device, I'm putting leverage on it, and usually I'll have another backup aligned somewhere else to distribute my weight.
So if the anchor fails, you have something to keep you from falling?
Not on that initial ascent,
Uh-huh.
oftentimes. Well, there are ways to make sure if that anchor fails, then another one beneath it could catch me, which is ideal. But
Right.
sometimes that's not the case. That initial ascent anchor, the way I guess, gain more confidence in it is before I commit to ascending up 100 feet or whatever, while I'm on the ground, I will put my system on, climb just a foot or 2 feet, and then jump and bounce all my weight onto my device, and it'll shock load that anchor, and I'll just listen for anything. And that'll give me the confidence that, hey, this is a bomber anchor and I'm good to climb.
A bomber.
Has there ever been a tree, I'm assuming you get the call, you answer it the way you did, and thank you for using the phone prop, by the way.
Yes.
Well done. Has there ever been, you show up at the scene, has there ever been a tree that you just really had a lot of doubts about or couldn't climb? And what happens?
Absolutely. Have been several times where there are trees that I couldn't climb, or I refuse to climb, or decide that's not in my best interest to climb. And hopefully there's a larger tree nearby that I could climb. And I think maybe, Stephen, the video that you first saw me on,
Yes.
what was one of those instances where I had a tree, a very large oak tree nearby, that I thought, okay, I can get above this cat in this tree, high enough above it, the cat's in this little tree, to where I can make a nice pendulum. The angle's not too steep, to where if this little tree breaks out, I'm not going to crash hard. I'm going to have a good weight distribution. So one option is to climb a nearby tree. If there isn't a nearby tree, then you take two trees that are distant, climb both of them, and set a rope in between them.
Wow.
It's called a high line. So now I have this long high line that I can get above the tree that the cat's in and descend down on top of it. That's very uncommon. And then the third case is to set up an elevator. And I have a video where I actually have two videos of an elevator. And it pretty much consists of getting a line, a throw line, not a rope, into the tree above the cat. It has to be above the cat, and you have to get the line to take a path that is next to the cat. And that takes some work, threading the rope or the line through the tree. And then you attach a basket. Usually I recommend putting a blanket that the cat is familiar with the smell in this basket or milk crate, and a can of something stinky and delicious. And then you hoist that up. You hoist that up, and it has to be to where the cat can step right into it. The less amount of effort the cat needs to get to the basket and into the basket, the better. So that's what I've done in cases where you've described, where I couldn't climb the tree. There were no other options. You can set up an elevator, and it works. If the elevator has worked every single time I've tried it.
And
Amazing.
usually the cat is just chilling, watching you settle this up. Have there ever been an instance where the cat moves or goes somewhere else, or I'm asking for our audience that it may
Oh,
not be
yes.
familiar with your videos. I hear them meowing at you like, "What the hell are you doing?" It just sounds like they're saying to you. But has there been an instance where you set all this up and you're doing your climb and the cat's like, "I'm out of here." Has that ever happened?
Okay. Let me step back a little bit, because I learn a lot about the cats before I ever even show up on site. Okay.
Okay, good point.
And honestly, I do a lot more counseling of humans than I do climbing after cats. I take calls. I take calls like the one, Stephen, when you, um, first, is it Stefan or Stephen? I want
It's
to make sure.
Stephen. Yep.
Okay. Sorry. So I take calls. I have a friend named Stefan, and he demands people call him Stefan. So
That's cool.
that's why I asked. Okay. So Stephen, like when you called, I'll take calls like that often and from various states. Even one person called me from Ireland about their cat being stuck in a tree. And so I do a lot more counseling of humans than I do climbing after cats. Let's just say in 2024, I decided I'm going to keep count this year. I stopped counting like in 2012. But in 2024, I decided to count because people kept asking me these questions and I wanted to have data at the end of the year to say, here's what it is. So in 2024, it was like 300 and something calls. Okay. And I have this very specific course that's on my website of what to do, what not to do. And if people follow that within the first 48 hours, how many times do you think I had to climb? Anybody take a guess in 2024?
100.
70 times. So that's over 74%, I think, of these cats climb down on their own within the first 48 hours if people follow these very specific instructions. And that's what I always shoot for. I feel like I'm not answering your question, Dan, but it's how I learn about the cats is during the counseling session over the phone. When it comes time to me actually saying, okay, you've tried all the things, and now I'm going to go try to rescue your cat. Or if they reach out to me and it's already been 3 days, I'm not going to have them wait 2 more days. I'm coming to rescue their cat. But I'll ask them what the temperament of the cat is. Okay. If I'm a stranger, let's say I always ask the people I'm speaking with, if I were to come visit you, say we're coworkers and I come visit you, we're going to have game night or we're just going to have dinner, whatever. How would your cat respond to me, this stranger, walking into your home? Is it a cat that's going to go hide? Will they eventually come out? Or no, they're not coming out till I'm gone and then 10 minutes later. So I try to get as much information from these people about the cat as I can, not just a strange human, but strange noises, strange new things in their environment, how they react to those things. And that will give me a lot of information on how to approach the cat, along with, are you able to pick this cat up? And are you the only person that's able to pick this cat up? Those all change the tools that I bring and how I approach the cat. But I also, right when I'm on site, when I'm setting that throw line, okay, I'm introducing this new object into the tree. I'm safe. I'm at a distance. I physically am not applying pressure. But with my throw line, I will first try to get the cat to climb down without me climbing up. And I've done it, I would say 1 out of 10 times I'm able to get the cat to climb down.
How?
Using my throw line. I have several videos of it.
I saw that you were trying that with, I think one of the first ones that I watched was you were trying that.
Yeah. Well, and you can also see how a cat's going to respond or how they're going to act with that throw line. If they're freaking out and trying to run from it, I know, hey, I'm going to have to climb in a different way than directly at this cat. I'm going to have to climb all the way on the other side of the tree, come from above, and then down to the cat, which is always the preferred approach rather than just climbing up under a cat and chasing it higher if it is a skittish cat. So I always try to approach from above. That way, if they do run, they run down, not up or out.
Does the throw line, when you say you use the throw line, does it act kind of like a toy, like for them, like something that they chase after, like a mouse toy or something like that?
Sometimes, usually not, but sometimes. And I have a friend in Gainesville, Florida, who also does this. And I was visiting him, and we went out on a rescue that he was called for. And we encountered a cat just like that. This cat was crazy to play with the string, and it ended up chasing the throw line all the way down the tree. And I've had a few of those too, but usually it scares the cat, and it motivates them to. If this little bag is going to scare the cat, what do you think this big bearded weirdo is going to do? It's going to scare the cat. So it's less traumatic for the throw weight to apply the pressure and the persuasion to get the cat to come down than it is for me.
Right.
So I know a few things about cats, right? But
You
I
do?
don't,
Just a
That's
few.
new. That's news to us.
so, but I don't know the answer to this question, which is, cats' nails are designed, climbing is pretty easy, right? Those nails are designed to go up. They're not really designed to come down. So can you explain how they actually are able to climb down without doing it backwards?
Well, they do it backwards.
They do.
That's how they have to climb down. And
Interesting.
that's why they get stuck. And this is just through experience. I guess it is data, because I've watched this happen so many times. Um, what I understand is happening through my experience is these cats, most of them are chased by another predator. Uh,
Yeah.
and that's usually dogs, uh, tomcats, neighborhood cats, big cats, coyotes,
Hmm.
bobcats in the southern part of Ohio, and young boys throwing rocks, etc.
Oh, jeez.
That's a very good point. It didn't,
I like that you include them under predators.
Yeah, it's the case. It's
well,
happened
some
more
of
than
them.
once. So these cats are chased. They flee up the tree out of fear. That adrenaline is pumping, and maybe they went up a tree where there isn't a stopping point until they're beyond their safe zone. I mean, we've seen cats on above cabinets, and the cats are afraid to jump. It's out of their safe zone to jump. Well, when these cats are chased up these trees, they climb higher than they're comfortable jumping from. And they've never had to back down something before. They've been able to back down a little bit and then turn and jump always. They never had to commit to, I'm going to back down this tree, a lot of these cats. And that's what happens. They're just like frozen by fear. And all they can do comfortably is to continue to go up oftentimes. But they do have to come down backwards, and they're hanging there with all four feet on the tree, but they have to pick a front one up and kind of lower it down and just do this like scraping descent down the tree. And usually they'll do that until they're 8 feet, and then they'll turn around and jump once they feel comfortable jumping. I've got a lot of videos showing cats doing this for the first time, and it is always preferable, especially for cats that have access to trees. That all of this makes a big determination for me on how I'm going to approach it. Now, if Stephen, you called me and said, "Yeah, Duane, I do have a cat stuck in a tree," I'm going to ask you, is this an always indoor cat that slipped out the door? It's a crazy world out there for this cat. It's never seen anything like this crazy world. Freaks out and runs up a tree. That's a situation. But if it's a cat that Steven you let outside every day, and it's used to the crazy world of the traffic and the horrors of the outside life, the dangers. Now I'm going to approach that quite a bit differently, because if this cat's going to have access to trees, I'm going to give it 48 hours to figure it out, because that's the best case scenario. Most cats do 74%, as the data shows. So they have to have time to first realize that they are in a situation that, Steven's not coming up here to help. They have to try to figure this out. And if they're going to have access to trees, them climbing down is the best case, because if it ever happens again, they will have that confidence to climb down the tree.
So it turns out, Duane, that one of my cats is a blind from birth girl she goes outside up in Maine on vacation. I take her out under supervision and she likes it. But she would probably be a little bit trickier to deal with because she can't see it coming. Or maybe
Yeah.
it's a good thing. But if someone were to call, you get calls all the time. If someone called you and said, "Hey, my cat has gone up a tree," is it okay to ask you to just say to our listeners what the basic things you should be doing as a cat parent to get your cat down?
Certainly. Uh, the first thing is I will say if you search Google for this, and the big first thing that's going to come up is it's a website. I forget what it is, but they give some information that I don't agree with through my experience. And the climbers that I know, I'm part of a network of climbers. We talk all the time. We share videos, best practices about what we've seen, and we've all come to the same conclusion. And that is, do not put food out around this tree. Your cat is not food motivated. Something chased the cat 90+% of the time. A predator chased this cat. And when you introduce food beneath the tree, you're just setting up a smorgasbord for these other animals that are going to keep this cat afraid to climb down.
Good point.
The two big no-nos are no food, no ladders. Usually I get the call and I'm talking to them about their cat. How long has it been up there? What have you tried? Well, it was only 15 feet up. Now it's about 30. I said, oh, so did your husband put a ladder? Yeah, my husband put a ladder up against the tree. And ladders usually will scare a cat higher into a tree. Just the sound of the ladder, this big foreign apparatus scares a cat. So no food, no ladders are my first two do not do's. And then what to do. And another reason for ladders, let me elaborate, is once your cat gets into that descending state, let's say your cat finally says it's been 24 hours almost, or it's in the still of the night, most of these cats will do it when it's quiet and they start to feel safe. They are nocturnal. They can do this. That's when they'll go ahead and try to climb down, a lot of times on their own. If you have a ladder up against the tree and your cat is in this descending mode where it has the trunk that it's dealing with, that ladder is going to be an obstruction for them to descend. Also, a lot of cats will start their descent and then they will lose their grip, so they may fall. That ladder is not the soft, flat ground. It's this like terrible trap that can twist a cat up if they were to land on it. So it creates a fall hazard, or a landing hazard, and an obstruction. So no food, no ladders, first two rules. And then what to do is you keep the area calm and quiet. If it's your yard and you have dogs, even if these dogs love your cat loves this dog. Keep the dogs out of the yard. If it's in the backyard, take your dogs out on a leash, walk them on a leash. If this is in your neighbor's yard, you have to communicate with your neighbors and they have dogs, beg them, tell them you will walk their dogs outside to use the restroom out front instead of out back. Do whatever it takes to keep the area free from dogs for the duration that the cat is in the tree. If the dogs come out every 4 hours or 3 hours, that cat, it's like a reset for that cat. It's going to have right back to fear. I'm staying up here. So no food, no ladders, keep dogs out of the area, keep the area quiet and calm. The cat's primary human, just that person and that person alone, the area is kept quiet. That person goes to the trunk of the tree to call for the cat. Never call for the cat from out in the yard where you have an easy view of the cat, or up on the porch or the deck or from the window. Never call from those places, because you are in that situation. You're luring the cat away from the trunk out onto a limb instead of down the tree. Or the cat will just look at you. It'll just look at you in the yard like, okay, yeah, I see you. But all you're doing is giving the cat a little bit of comfort. When you don't want it comfortable, you want to be at the trunk of the tree only. That's the only place you call. And I recommend the cat's primary human go to the trunk of the tree, put their hand on the trunk, and call very intensely, even if they can't see the cat from where they're at. Call very intensely for just a couple of minutes. Like, try to get that cat feeling desperate. And if the cat doesn't make a move to try to descend after that couple of minutes, just turn around, walk inside, don't look back. Close the door, look at the watch, and say, I'm going back out there in 30 to 40 minutes. Okay. And that during that time, when you're waiting that 30, 40 minutes, that's when you get on catinatreerescue.com and you call somebody in your area and you say, hey, my cat's in the tree. I'm not asking you to come out here right now. My cat's been up there for 4 hours. I understand most cats climb down on their own, but I'm asking you, if my cat is still up there tomorrow, can you possibly send a climber out to help me out? And the reason why I recommend doing that is you will be much more likely to find a climber to help you if you approach them that way. Not, I need you to come here right now. They're going to say no. But if you are, level-headed about it and say, hey, if my cat's still up there tomorrow, can you schedule this? It's much more likely going to happen. Okay. So 30, 40 minutes later, that first call didn't work out. No, you couldn't get a hold of anybody. You go back out to the tree trunk and you just rinse and repeat that cycle of get the cat intensely to feel desperate enough. You're telling it where you want it to go is down the trunk of the tree. And you're also letting it know, I can't help you. I want you to come down the trunk of this tree. I'm not calling you out to the edge of the tree where you can walk on these horizontal branches. I'm calling you down the trunk of the tree. Very intense every 30, 40 minutes, and just repeat that cycle. I have been on the phone so many times, I do not even know how many times this has happened, where people have talked to me. They've been outside in their yard for hours trying to get their cat to climb down. And I calm them down. The first thing is to calm them down and let them know it's going to be okay. I'm here for you. If this cat's up here, trust me, I will help you get your cat down. But until then, I want you to do this. And I tell them everything I just told you. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to stay on the phone with you. Just take me inside, and then I'll tell you what to do next. They go inside, close the door, and they're watching out the kitchen window, and their cat climbs down as soon as they go inside. They start to feel desperate. Their human
Wow.
just left them. Okay, now they don't have that comfortable feeling. Okay, I'm my safe human down here. No, they left you inside. They left you out here, and they get desperate. And that's what you want. You want the cat to feel desperate enough to make that move.
So that is fascinating, because as you were telling that story, I picked, it makes perfect sense to go stand at the trunk of the tree. I get that, call them, the favorite human. So my next thought on that, and I probably imagine other people's would be too, is maybe I grab a book and I just sit there and I just sit at the base of the tree and I just wait, because that's one of the things also that we've learned through like other cat rescues is to not panic, to not do, basically just go sit on your front porch or just leave the door open and just kind of casually wait for the cat to come back home, because they most likely will. So in that, it seems, I guess I kind of understand it as you went on, but it feels a little counterintuitive to not just sit there and calmly wait. I get the food makes perfect sense, but like, I'd maybe just sit there for a half hour and let the cat know, hey, look, I'm down here. I got you.
Yeah, now I do recommend that when it's a case where someone has taken their cat on an adventure, say to a park that's nowhere near their home. The cat does not know, where home is or where they are. In those instances, it's just sit calmly, sit quietly. But then, if after a half hour goes by, try to get the cat intense. Try to build some desperation in that cat, and then just if it doesn't work, then just sit quietly. But I find that if it's in the yard, just that visual or the cat knowing you're there, it doesn't build the desperation like walking away, because it's happened so many times. As soon as they close the door, the cat starts climbing down.
Yeah.
Amazing. Can I just briefly ask on an emotional level? It looks like you have these relationships with these cats. It might be an illusion, but you're up there 100 feet in the air. You're talking to the cat. You're pulling out a squeeze up treat, a cheru. Cat's talking to you. And I'm just curious emotionally what this is all like for you during the experience and once it's successfully over.
Oh, it varies so much. it's a wild roller coaster ride sometimes. And sometimes I can just look at the cat and know that this is going to be fun and it's going to be sweet and everything's going to work out. And then other times I have no idea how it's going to go. And there are always surprises where the cat runs from me and I'm not prepared for it. Um, the good ones, when everything goes as planned, the cat is ready to be rescued, are just a joy for me. And it feels so great to help the cat and the humans. A big part of what I do, like I have friends that I've been making these videos since before social media, like going viral on social media was a thing. So my friends around the country, tree climber friends that also do this, we've been recording these videos since 2011, 2012, and just sharing them with each other. Back then, when social media was just with your friend groups, and just to show, hey, this is what I'm doing, this is what I saw, and things like that. But what I've come to notice with my stories on my videos is it's as much about it's a human story as much as it is a cat story. I really build connections with these people, and you get to see their kind of desperation, some of them, and then also some of them are just hilarious, and they're like, "This stupid cat, I can't get it." It's wildly as different as every individual person could be. These cats are as different, and every tree it poses different challenges. So to just say what it is, it would take me months to explain that, because that's like saying what are people like, because
Right.
everybody's so different. But
So,
it's very rewarding to me to be able to help people and their animals and my community. It's like I said, this started out as another reason to climb trees, but now it's turned into a true labor of love for me. And I've realized my mission has become to reduce suffering in a way. That's my goal. I just want to reduce suffering for these people and reduce suffering for these animals. And it comes with so many joys and sadnesses all wrapped up all together.
I just want to, you mentioned reducing suffering. My life changed professionally and emotionally and in all respects when I responded to the Joplin tornado, Joplin, Missouri, 2011.
Mm-hmm.
I was part of the field investigations and rescue team with ASPCA. And I learned for the first time as an adult what it means to relieve suffering in another creature. And I know you'll agree with this. It changes you.
Yeah.
And it changed me forever. And it ultimately was the beginning of me changing careers from what I did to animal welfare.
Yeah. I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
It,
Brothers in arms, man. We're all of
yeah.
us in there. Everyone on this Zoom call is a part of animal welfare and knows
Yeah,
what this means.
for
One
sure.
question I had for you, Duane, is um, how has the community that you live that where you specifically the region that you go to, could you describe, how far you go for one of these rescues, and how does I guess the government where you are, the fire department and the police department, how have they responded to your efforts? Has that been I'm just curious because, when you're a kid, you think cat climbs a tree, you call the fire department and they go up in the ladder and they save the cat. How has the community, the town government reacted to you? Have they reacted to you? Can you go into that in any way?
Sure. Really, from my government or municipalities, we've had no correspondence other than individuals. I've had dispatchers from different fire departments reach out to me just as an individual to say, hey, can I share your information? And well, of course, please do, because I don't want to. I don't want to rag on fighters at all. But in my comment sections, I cannot tell you how many times I've read, I called the fire department and they asked me if I've ever seen a cat skeleton in a tree. And I
What?
get that comment so much that I have since blocked the word skeleton from the comment sections of my social media
That's
because
horrible.
I
I'm
didn't know you
talking,
could block a word.
yeah, yeah, look into it. There are several words that I've blocked. Skeletons and bones. But some of these people, their spelling is so bad that it still slips through. But so yeah, I mean, thousands of times a year, those comments I used to get before I found out you could block a word. Um, but I understand firefighters are not tree climbers. They're not experts in trees. You know, they are experts at fighting fires and dealing with these man-made structures. Unless they're forest firefighters, that's different. But yeah, I've just it's almost put a sour taste in my mouth just the amount of times I've read the comment that called the fire department and they asked if I've ever seen a cat skeleton in a tree. Now I know for a fact that not all fire departments are this way. I have a friend who's a firefighter, and he has shared my number with folks. He's a compassionate person and loves animals. But that is this saying or this myth that has been perpetuated through not just firefighters. A lot of people, my dad always said that, or my grandpa always said that. Um, so yeah, but just recently I've never reached out personally to fire stations until last week, actually, was the first time. And that was because a couple of weeks ago I had no I don't want to take this to a dark place, but I have done body recoveries out of trees before. Okay. To say that cats do not die in trees is a lie. And people often think if it got up there, it will get down. And just the fact that they're using it is an indicator of where they're at. You know, this is a sentient creature, and it's either way. People say that a lot, and just a couple of weeks ago, I was called to rescue a cat in a tree, and these people have called they called the fire department already, and the fire department gave them the same, you know, oh, it'll come down on its own, or I've never seen a cat skeleton in a tree. Well, I go out to set my line in the tree, my throw bag, and when I get my rope set up, I get my device on, I'm all geared up, and I'm just about to climb. And we watch this cat fall out of the tree dead. Okay.
Mm.
Oh,
And it was it was heartbreaking. And we rushed it to the vet, tried to do everything we could. Um, but after that incident, I mean, I've decided I'm going to reach out to the firefighters. And so I visited 12 local fire stations last week and just gave them my card and explained to them, hey, cats do get stuck in trees and they do die in trees. Please, if you are perpetuating this myth of never seen a cat skeleton in a tree, please stop. This is what just happened. I'm just giving you, I don't make money off of this. I don't ask for anything. I'm not trying to like boost some business. I just want to give you guys a better option to tell people versus telling them that you've never seen a cat skeleton in a tree. So I just did that for the first time last week. I still have a lot of fire departments to go visit in the coming weeks. But as
How
far as
did they
any
receive the message? How did they
it
take it
varied.
in?
It varied a lot. It varied quite a bit. Um, you kind of get. I'm sure there are different cultures in each fire station, depending on leadership and whatever. But some of them were very responsive and receptive. And you know, they said that they've heard that before, but they don't say that. And others kind of laughed and said, "Yeah, well, yeah, we say that." And I was probably a little harder on those ones that said that. But yeah, uh, it varied. You know, people just like the cats, they're all different.
Mm. Yeah.
But
I'm so heartbroken by that. I'm like literally fighting tears right now. That like really, it's to be so insensitive, you know? I mean, it's a our pets are a family.
yeah,
They're
I
our
yeah,
family, and it's just to be so insensitive about it, and not even to respond. And you know, even if they didn't have your information, even if they just responded and said, "Oh, you know, there are people that do this rescue. Go find them," or "I'm sorry, we can't help you," or you know, something. But like, just to be so flippant and dismissive about it, it's heartbreaking. I can't even imagine. Like, I'm like picturing that poor animal, but also I assume there was like a family and you know maybe kids and I, it's like it's just that's so
it,
heartbreaking.
it is. It is heartbreaking, and you know, some fire squads or departments will send people out to do these rescues. You know, I have a Google alert set up for cat stuck in a tree or cat tree rescue, and I see that some fire departments do this, and sadly, it's often in more affluent neighborhoods or
Mm,
areas. But some fire departments do it, or a lot of times they're not allowed to due to different liabilities, um, or in case they were to miss a call while a fire is going on or
yeah,
something like that. So I understand it. And then there's also, it's not the firefighters themselves. Sometimes it's, you know, their dispatcher. A lot of these fire stations do not even communicate directly with the public. It will be their main dispatcher at the headquarters. That's where they get all of their calls from. So they would be giving that information. And that's going to be my next step. Actually, one of the firefighters told me that when I visited the station, and he told me this is who you need to talk to, are the people at this dispatch, the main hub, and that's who you have to have this conversation with, because I agree with you. He agreed with me, but sadly, he doesn't even get the calls. He says, I'm just a guy who fights fires. I don't know where we're going. We're told from dispatch. So there are a lot of nuances to it, and
yeah,
I would never throw a blanket over fire fighters, you know, that they're this way, because it's not just firefighters. A lot of just people in the comments say these things about cats and trees. You know, I've never seen a cat skeleton in a tree. They'll come down, shake a can of tuna. I've read these comments so many times ad nauseum. Um, and people say that until it's their own family member. Okay.
yeah.
And
Absolutely.
so it's a myth that I'm trying to dispel. Like I shared the video of the cat I just described to you. Like I've never shared a gory video or anything. I've seen some pretty bad things with cats and trees, but this one, you know, I censored out the parts that would really hurt the
I
most.
watched that last night, actually.
Yeah,
Oh,
and it was more as an educational piece to show people, hey, stop it. This does happen and it hurts.
You are a compassionate, very compassionate person, Duane. And
yeah,
I knew when we met you that this was going to be the amazing episode that it is. We need you to speak at some national cat conferences. I suspect, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I suspect you haven't, and maybe none of your fellow tree climbers have spoken at a national cat conference. But I think we need to fix that.
Wow, I've never even considered such a thing. But then again, I never thought I'd be speaking with you guys either.
Well, Duane Hook, absolutely fascinating, honestly. I have a fear of heights. I cannot climb a tree. I could never do what you do. It's absolutely fascinating, the process, everything about it. Um, I love, you get up there and the cat's like, "Hey, you gonna come hang out with me?
Yeah,
Cool. Did you bring it? Did you bring a TV? Let's watch something." And you're like, "Get in the bag," and then you always say the cat's in the bag, and
yeah. I love that.
yeah.
I
Yep,
watched.
that's not mine. There's a guy, Peter Treeman Jenkins, out of Atlanta, Georgia. He is the founder of recreational tree climbing. Before this, people just climbed trees to cut on trees. Well, Peter, he cut on trees. He was an arborist, but he loved it so much that he would teach people to climb trees for fun. and he started doing these cat in a tree rescues. And I was at one of these rendezvous with Peter, such a great guy. He's an old hippie. He's a delight. And we were just sitting back talking about cat in the tree rescues, and he knows that I do them. But if Peter's going to talk, I'm going to listen. Okay. So he was telling me how to do it. And he was telling me, and after you get that cat in the bag, you got to yell down to him, the cat's in the bag. So that stuck with me, and Peter said I had to do it, so I do it.
I'm watching your videos. I'm anxious. It
Yeah.
fills me with anxiety. And
Yeah.
I'm not, you're the one doing the work. And I'm going, I want to fast forward to the end to see what happens, but I don't, and then when you go, the cat's in the bag, it's like,
You know,
ah.
Dan, there's this moment with every rescue that Duane does where he's going to get his hands in onto the scruff and pull the bag over the cat. And that is the moment where I am always going, oh, please, God, please, please. And
Yeah,
then sometimes he's dangling the cat. I'm like, how
Yeah.
can you do that? But it works.
Or,
that
you're
that's
closing the
another
bag. I
thing.
see the tail sticking out of the bag, and you're like,
I get a lot of flack for that from some people, about the way I bag a cat. I wish I didn't have to scruff a cat. I wish they would just jump right in the bag on their own. I try to be as gentle as I can, and I
Duane,
guess people don't
you're,
realize, I'm up in the air and I have a lot to do with my hands, and I'm only got this cat by the scruff for like 3 seconds max.
you
you're
can't go up
okay.
there with a cat carrier. I mean,
I,
you,
I was
you have to
talking
do what
to
you could do.
I was talking to colleagues at my shelter in New York City the other day about how you scruff and bag the cat, and we have a kind of no scruff policy except in an emergency, really. And I'm like, but Duane gets a pass. He's 100 feet in the air, and this works. And we're all like, yes, he's got to do it. It's fine.
No,
Thank
and
you
you do
so
it for
much.
you do it for such a short period of time. It's like 5 seconds at most. And I was just watching one video, and it was a heavier cat. I forget what the name of the cat was, but when you went to go grab it, you went to go you didn't want to pick it up because the cat was heavy. It was too heavy to pick it up by
Yeah,
the scruff. So you made it a point to draw the cat to you as close to you as possible, so you had the least amount of time with the bag, so with the with the scruff, and you could get it into the bag as quickly as possible. Honestly, what else are you supposed to do? I
yeah.
mean,
I
really.
I don't know. I mean, I've been bitten enough and had enough rabies shots
Oh,
to where,
jeez.
um, I I feel like this is the way I'm going to do it. And until someone can show me 100% effective way where I'm not going to get bitten and have more rabies shots,
Right.
uh, you
I
know,
mean,
this is the way I'm going to do
Duane,
it.
Duane, having had rabies shots myself, this will make you feel good. We are in discussion at my shelter. I'm at a very large municipal shelter in New York City. We take in 10,000 cats a year. I'm talking about working on creating that bag because we have different ways of getting scared cats out of kennels, but we
Mhm.
don't have this way. And I'm curious to test it in a kennel
Yeah,
and see if I can make it work.
I have one I could send you. I make these bags myself,
Are you
and
kidding
oh,
me?
yeah,
oh, you
Oh
just
my
and
made
God.
Tuesday.
it's a little bit different design. I've tried a few different ones, but yeah, I could send you one of my bags.
Oh, I would be honored, and I'll let you know how it goes when I
You heard
start
it. You
Okay.
working with
heard it
it.
here, folks.
There's a rescue here that called me up because of my bag. And there were a community of cats and a trailer park that the people said they got to go, and that owned the property. And there was one cat named Bon Jovi that they just couldn't get. And they
I
wanted
love
to
that
try
name.
they could pet it, but they could never pick it up or anything like that. And I was like, well, if you can pet this cat, my bag's going to work. And
Yeah.
Myrna, she runs this Columbus Dog and Cat Connection. She she petted that cat and bagged it right up. So it's if you can get your fingers on a cat, you're going to bag it.
Dan or Duane, if I get it to work for me at the shelter, you know what the first thing I'm going to say is, the
The
cat's
cat's
in
in
the
the
That's in the
bag.
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 Yeah. Hey, Peter would be proud.
Duane Hook, we'll have all your links in our podcast description. honestly, thank you so much for everything you do for these cats. Your love, obviously, your love of trees may have come first, but your love of the cats that you rescue has so come through in everything in our discussion today. And just talking to you, you answered a lot of my questions without me having to ask them, which is also great. So thank you for that, Duane. We'll have your links in our description. Duane Hook, thank you so much for everything you do for these cats and your whole network. Please send our regards to your forum, your network of tree climbing people. They're all welcome on the show. We'd love, it's just an avenue of cat rescue that I wasn't aware of and I'm fascinated by now. And
Dan, before we go out, let's get Duane to say his personal cat rescue website, the Get Me Outta here.
Yeah.
yeah,
You want to tell us?
how can people find you?
My website is getmeoutahere.com, and I'm on all the social medias at Duane Hook.
Awesome. Duane, thank you so much. This has been episode 77, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.
I used to hate cats, used to be dogs all the way, till a cat came along, changed my tune. Now I say I prefer cats to